So it's an absolute pleasure to welcome India's teen sensation Anahat Singh, who is not only a very well-known squash player now, but she is billed as the next squash superstar. So for someone who is just past 15, could be some element of pressure on her, but it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you, Anahat. What are your thoughts on all this talk around you that you're the next big star of India? Does it urge you on? Does it bother you? Is there some kind of worry for you?
At some points, it does get a bit overwhelming that a lot of the pressure is on me, and everyone's saying that I'll be the future of Indian squash. And I mean, it does get a bit nerve wracking at some points, but I mean, I love playing the sport, and I'm always going to play it in the future. So it would always be really great to bring someone into the country and bring some medals for the country.
Anath, recently I spoke at length with India's legendary squash player and your friend and mentor Saurabh Ghoshal. And when I asked him a question about the young breed of players coming up, he mentioned you in particular, and he said that Anahat has this amazing mental strength, and someone like me learns a lot from her. My question to you is that where does this mental strength come from? Have you worked on it? Is there a team, or it's just you?
It's not that I worked on it specifically, but I've always been really into sports and I've always been really competitive about everything. Even if not only about squash, everything I do in general, I'm really competitive and I always want to win or be the best at it. So I think it just comes to me naturally and that I really love doing well and performing in what I'm doing.
Has sort of given you some tips on how to improve your gameplay?
Yeah, I have spoken to him quite a bit about where I'm lacking in the sport, and I mean, all the seniors are all really, really helpful. Just traveling with them and getting to spend time with them, even if they don't really talk to me much about what I need to improve on. And I think just watching them play, watching their matches, there's still so much to learn from them.
I watched one of your earlier interviews where you described your transition from first initially being inspired by someone like PV Sindhu in badminton, and then you switched to squash. And you made a very interesting remark in that interview where you said that I took to squash also because of the fact that there was less competition. Was that the sole factor driving you towards squash, or you found the sport more exciting than badminton?
Not necessarily. I don't think that was the main reason why I switched. I just really love playing squash. I mean, it was hard for me to decide which of the two I would want to play because I really love playing both the sports. And I think it was just because I really enjoyed playing squash and I was just doing really well. And I think I don't know. I think I just enjoyed it more than I did with badminton, so I just picked it up more professionally.
Can you talk us through the coaches that you've been through and your current coach, if I can pronounce his name correctly, is Stefan Galifi, former top 20 player based in Mumbai. So you've said that he's been helping you a lot. So, and earlier there were a couple of other coaches. Can you explain to us what your journey was like?
When I first started playing squash, I used to train with Amjad sir and Puneet sir. They were both based out of Delhi, and yeah, it was just in the beginning I used to train with them. They really helped me get into the basics of squash. But I think further on to it, I didn't really have that many coaches because, like right now as well, the coach I have, he's based in Bombay and he's not in Delhi. So it does get a bit hard sometimes to train with him, but I think whenever I get an opportunity, I always try to go to Bombay or he comes to Delhi or during tournaments. I think we always try our best to train together.
What is the kind of time that you need to devote during training, and also how do you ramp up before a tournament, because a lot of youngsters would be looking at you and getting inspired and they would want to take to this sport. So what is your advice for them, and what is your regimen like?
Normally people think that I play quite a few hours in a day, but honestly, I don't play more than 2 to 3 hours in a day. I think, and even before tournaments, I just try to stick to my normal regime and don't really change it up too much. I think, yeah, I don't really play that much. Otherwise, I think if you get overburnt or anything like that, so I just like to stick to 2 to 3 hours in a day where I like put in as much effort as I can into playing well, and yeah, nothing more than that.
And Any thoughts that you would like to share about nutrition, about diet, and physical conditioning?
I don't think I'm the right person to say this because I don't really follow my diet exactly how I'm supposed to. But I mean, I try to eat as healthy as I possibly can. But I mean, I don't restrict myself that much either.
Okay, looking at the 2028 Olympics, because squash has become a part of that, and I know it has excited a lot of many players like you. So, what would your target be like? And when we are talking about the new crop of Indian players, we saw you playing with Abhay and the others. So then. Can India hope for a podium finish? Is there any chance of making it to a gold or a silver?
I mean, yeah, definitely. Like everyone's really improving, like especially in the past few years, and squash has become a really popular sport in India, and day by day it's getting even more popular. And I think, I mean, this like the fact that it's come in the Olympics, I think it's a really, really good thing for the sport. And there's a lot of really good players from India, and I think by the time in 2028, there's still 5 years from now. So I think everyone's now that it's in the Olympics, everyone's really excited to that, and I think everyone's going to be training towards that. And I mean, I think everyone's really going to put in as much as effort as they can to get a medal in the Olympics. I mean, that's the dream for every athlete.
Anath, what has been your toughest challenge so far? Any particular match you remember? Any particular opponent or rival you remember that beating so and so was the toughest? Someone who really pushed you hard?
When you asked the question, this was like 2 years ago, but it was in the British Junior Open under 13 semi-final, and I mean, it was the first match I could think of when you asked me this question, and it was really, really close. It went down to like the last point, and I got like really lucky that she made a mistake, and I got the point. And I mean, I can still remember the last like that entire match really well, and now even if I think about it now, like my heart starts racing. And I mean, that tournament in general, it was, I mean, I lost in the finals, but I was really excited to have won that match. And yeah, I mean, it's something I'll always remember, I think.
Would you would you explain to us why Egypt is one of those places which is such a hub for squash? And some of the stats that I have, it says that Noor El Sherbini from Egypt, who's the current world number one, had already won the world championship by 20, is now on her way to winning a sixth title. And besides, almost all the world's top 10 players in the men's and women's sections are Egyptian. Have you given any thought to that? Have you studied their model? Would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, for Egypt, squash is like the cricket for India. I mean, it's the best sport. Like the athletes, I think the players are the sport is doing the best in that country. And I think it's just that um, I don't think there's really much of a difference, and just that I mean the facilities that they have, the coaches, the players. I think everything is just much better over there. And I mean, all these other countries are also coming up, including India. India is becoming much better in squash as compared to how it was in the past few years. So I think comparatively from before, we're all catching up to Egypt, and I think yeah, I mean, it's not they're still ahead of us, and just in like small, really minor details like coaching or facilities or just small match practice, and I think eventually all the other countries will catch up, hopefully.
Yeah. I was about to ask you about the facilities in India. Are you happy with it? Would you make any suggestion for any kind of radical improvement?
If I compare to the past few years, I think it's been like a huge improvement in the number of facilities and coaches and just the amount of input into the sport. And I mean, I don't think there's much I can say about it. Just more facilities and the small details that would help the sport would be like really, really good.
There is another aspect which has come from experts who watch the game. They say that in India there has been a problem of late transition to seniors. Has that affected you in any which way? Obviously not, but would you like the system to change?
I mean, I personally started playing in the seniors quite early on, and I think um, I think it was a really good decision that I started playing all of these senior tournaments. That it also helped me a lot in the junior category because my game improved quite a lot playing with all those senior players. And even though if I wasn't winning in the initial few tournaments, I think it really improved my game and really improved the way I was thinking and going on to court. I think really improves your confidence. And I mean, like juniors playing senior tournaments is always really helpful for them, and always motivates them to train more and train harder.
Anat, my last question to you would be more to understand from your experience that you played a lot overseas, and particularly in Hangzhou, you were noticed a lot, and there was a lot of media coverage around you. What was your personal experience at the Asian Games, being in China, interacting with all these other players, playing against the Pakistanis, which was also talked about? And the way a lot of the journalists really praise the facility in Hangzhou. So, what are your memories of the Asian Games?
The Asian game is like, I'll never forget it. It was a priceless experience. Just being around all those athletes from not only from squash but from different sports and different countries, and just being around them and getting to play with them. And in the village, especially like being around all of those top athletes and seeing them around just while you're eating like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I think it was really amazing, and I'm really grateful to have gotten that experience at such a young age.
Anat, thank you very much for your time from Team NNIS. We really wish you all the best and hope that you do very, very well in the 2028 Olympics and also enjoy the journey in between. It's been just fantastic watching you during the Asian Games. All the best. Good luck.
Thank you.